Greetings, Visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. The topic of today's broadcast is going to be about being a intuitive introvert. I was listening to a really excellent video recently, and I will call out this channel. It's called Pyphoria. That's Pyphoria. I'll try to put a link below as well. Excellent channel, not necessarily specific to INFJs though, as this channel is, but when I come across information that is really wonderful, I want to call it out, and this guy is amazing. This video was called Carl Jung's Dark Warning to Intuitive Introverts. Are you one of them? Yes, we are intuitive introverts. And it was a couple days ago, so I'm just going to do a very rough paraphrase. His video is 26 minutes long, and I highly recommend you check it out. You won't regret it. But my summation, what stayed with me, was he was making a point like this intuitive introversion for us is a overwhelming. Force isn't the right word. It is a very present envelope that we are folded into and move within. We're getting constant inklings and feelings, intuitions about things that are just at the edge, as I was saying in our last broadcast, right at the edge of the now. And for that reason, very prescient for the future. However, the point that Pyphoria makes in his excellent broadcast is that if we do not engage in extroverting these intuitions into the world in some way, either through art, music, writing, I would say those are maybe the best, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But it has to come out in some way. Otherwise, what happens is that these intuitions, these concepts and ideas that are essentially driving us, they end up pushing us kind of like into ourselves. And you could call that madness. I could definitely see how some people could go mad through introverted intuition with nothing to alleviate it, For me, it's of course not a problem. I've been expressing myself for as long as I've been going, Mostly I make my living as an artist, and I have a really evolved and professional grade hobby as a musician as well, and I'm also a writer that sells books. So I have a lot of ways of getting my intuition out into the world. And what was great about Pyphoria's broadcast is that I didn't even realize why the impetus was so great to do these things. All I know is that I have to do it. For example, I took a very long break from making music recently, but that's to work on a massive book that I've just finished writing. And now I'm editing it, but channel's not really about me. It's about being an INFJ. So this does pertain to that, though. I just, thought, oh, well, the deal I made with myself was I'm going to take a break from music and put all that energy into this massive book that I know will require so much work and intensive concentration. So I took 6 months off, but I was thinking, oh, I'm not done editing. I should just stay away from the music, but I can't. I have to get it out. It needs to come out into the world. Now, especially in the case of the music, I've had great feedback from some forums and things at times, but for the most part, the world doesn't care, and that is beside the point. We don't have much power in the external world. I don't know if you've noticed that, and it can be very frustrating, INFJ, because you have a lot of great ideas. You have a lot of thoughts about ways that could be improved, ways that things could be made more equitable and fair for everybody. And yet, when you try to use your personal power to implement these things in the world, you may have noticed that you just kind of crumble and turn into, not much. This has been the case with me, and I've made my peace with it. It can be frustrating. One thing that some INFJs do is they find a way to partner up with someone who's able to make things actually happen in the external world. But at the end of the day, what is the external world? It's probably just a simulation of our shared conscious experience anyway. So it's not too important to get hung up on getting results in the external world. But what is important, getting back to Pyphoria's point in his excellent video, is that we have to move this internal impetus of all these ideas, thoughts, motivations, concepts, you name it, intuitions, visions. We have to move them out into the world. That's our job. Our job is to do that. You can do that with your art, with music, with writing. And I mentioned there are other ways, of course. Some INFJs might be able to manage the creativity. I just used the word manage because it would be creativity in the management sphere, for example, either in business or in organizations. You could turn your extroverted feeling and your introverted intuition towards helping create a better result for an organization. But my personal view, and I know everyone's different, so there may be INFJs that are able to manage this better than me, but I have been a manager, and I can tell you it comes at a high cost, and you are always feeling a little unbalanced because you're not truly connected to the external world. You're aware of it. You're able to put things into it. You're able to affect people's lives and do things. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying don't be a manager or something. You obviously, especially if it's for your work, I think you could be a great leader, a great manager. But it's not really natural for you, and it's not really the outlet for the introverted intuition either. I don't think, in a sense that it can be really exhausting. And also when you become attached to external outcomes, you sort of lose a lot of your visionary power. This is just my idea, but I've been around a long time. Speaking of, I want to address that as well. I'm a Gen X, and I've been seeing a lot of videos lately by millennials and Gen Z, and you guys have really gotten the short end of the stick, I have to say. Um, I think the boomers got all the money. They got all the houses. A few lucky Gen X did too, but it's getting very difficult. But what I would say to you is also just remember that it's not a game exactly, but it's a bit of an illusion, and that your life is your creation. Don't be too constrained by external things. Find a place that you can operate in the world and make something happen. And getting back to the initial thing we were talking about when we started the broadcast, that should be expressing yourself. If you're not making art, or if you're not making music, if you're not writing, take up one of those activities and start seriously pursuing mastery, okay? And everything else will probably fold into place. Also, we'll be talking in another future broadcast about having fulfilling relationships. That's something I really want to address. I've been quite fortunate in that regard, but I think it can be really harder for the younger generations there, mostly because of the pressing of the digital age into the human realm. in the form of the social media and the disconnection that comes from that. Anyway, that'll be a topic for another broadcast. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll be back real soon. Hang in there, visionaries.